Hello and welcome. Ravenfield's community map support is coming soon. It is the next major thing on the to-do list for Steel Raven 7. There is a map-making chat channel on the Discord, on the official Discord of Ravenfield, and people have been posting like mad. Only 2 days or so and already you have many maps to look forward to. I'm going to show you the community progress so far, and then I'm going to show you how to make maps in Unity for Ravenfield, most likely in the future, in the very close future. EaglePancake is working on a map inspired by the Golden Gate Bridge. Here we see an untextured version and we can see some of the assets being used. As you can see, golden balls are in place. Apparently there is a tool called terrain.party which can be used for map making. And the map is making progress already. Here we see a version with bridges, and from another perspective, looks like a complex map so far. And there will be an Easter egg. I only worry about the trees, they might be quite the performance killer. We shall see. And here is some detail, namely some trenches. Plant12345 is working on a map with a lighthouse and another just with some hills and trees, which already has developed into an interesting airfield heavy map. And it even has hangars. This here is after the map has been scaled up a bit. And here we even have a closer to gameplay screenshot of the map with anti-air. Quite impressive work, although I have to say the assets look a bit weird. Perhaps the Ravenfield ones will be available for use. Plant also made an interesting tank placeholder. Here we see a lake close-up. They're also working on a boat. And here we have a big overview of our map. And now here with added background mountains, just like in Dust Bowl. Kinda wonder how to do that still. Another view of a nearly finished map. Again some detail with cannons and tank and a bunker. That looks interesting. And at the point of me recording this is the most recent overview. This looks quite complex, although I think the bots will have a good time sniping with pistols and stuff, because it is quite flat. And I am a bit worried about the trees just bringing my computer to its knees. Scrubadubud is working on a house in the hills. We can see some material work. And here's a really optimistic message. This has been the progress after 50 minutes on their first day using Unity. Although obviously that community member has some experience doing something in 3D already, I'm sure. Here we have an interesting archipelago kind of map, also being made by Scrubadubud. And this seems to be the planned layout of the entire map. IronClad has a suggestion which checkboxes to tick during Unity installation to be able to make maps for Ravenfield, although this is not official, of course. They've also been working on this map. Although, to be honest, I'm not completely sure this is for Ravenfield, but it definitely looks like something that could be usable there. Vel is working on a river map. It has a lot of trees, oh my. And quite some nice details. A strange bunker as well. And a helicopter placeholder as well. Somehow this screams Far Cry to me. I haven't even played Far Cry. And a nice tank placeholder as well. I am 99.9% sure this is too many trees. But hey, check it out, there's a boat in the middle. McDenny's 09 is showing some concept art they have been working already in the past, which they plan to turn into maps. These certainly look like some complex projects right there. And it seems that very many people would like an industrial or urban map, so this might be it. That one guy with a triangle is working on an interesting map concept as well. And Ye Old Green Apple has shown some rather detailed screenshots of their work so far, including a smoking volcano. Nice. Shiny Nurse Mark 14E is working on an atmospheric looking map with a bunker. A very shiny bunker. And also working on a boat. JakeMLG is working on something they're planning to call the Bavarian Mountains. I would say it has a lot of variation in the layout, so I look forward to trying that one out as well. Jodigy is working on what looks like a very small but also very nice looking map. I for one can't wait to play a 1v1 flag match, or simply a map faster than Temple or Island. Also, please witness the best map by Plant12345. Johan-hassel has been sharing some information about map making. For example, we can expect the tools during July. Let's hope it happens like that. He has shared the current map sizes. Temple is 300 by 300 meters, Island is 400 by 400 meters, Dust Bowl and Archipelago are 1500 square meters. This is important for you to know what kind of size map you're building. He suggests that you don't make maps bigger than 1500 meters, and reminds us that we can also do background geometry like we see on Dust Bowl, for example. The height of a Ravenfield character is 1.8 meters. Again, just for reference. What we will get are scripts for exporting Ravenfield maps from Unity and map assets, which means props that SteelRaven7 has created to use in his maps, like trenches, spawn points of course, buildings I hope, and I hope textures as well. If you can import it into Unity, you should be able to export it to Ravenfield. No scripts are possible though. I'm guessing that might be a security feature. To teach bots how to navigate, you will create a volume, that means a 3D space, where AI should be able to navigate, and set up some parameters. I'm not quite sure what that means. Perhaps you will give volumes different preferability, and the rest is taken care of by the game. I suppose on first run it might calculate some navigation meshes. Vehicle and weapon toolsets are not coming yet, but are planned for the future. And again, to clarify, the map maker toolset will have props like trenches, building parts, fences. The version of Unity that you will need for making maps in Ravenfield will most likely be Unity 5.6, which you can download for free from their website. The installer is very small, but a complete Unity installation will take about 3 GB. A little bit more info: map editing will be available on the beta branch first, and then later in the stable branch. And workshop support will not be included right away, it will come later. SteelRaven7 is recommending to get the standard assets from Unity. He thinks some of the trees there can be useful. He expects a nav mesh to be built in 1 minute or less, but for a complex map you will have to put in some manual work designating the areas where units can walk. And by complexity he doesn't mean the size, but rather how many colliders are in the scene. He also recommends textures.com, once known as CG Textures, for getting textures for map making. He also speaks favorably of Pro Builder, although the paid version costs $100. Most of the materials SteelRaven7 uses and some custom shaders will also be shared with us. And the first version SteelRaven7 actually hopes to release in early July. Let us cross our fingers. The mapping toolset will be probably provided as a Unity project rather than a Unity asset bundle or package. Also, SteelRaven7 made a request. Somebody make a bread map. Bread. And enjoy these beautiful water textures. So let me just show you what the Unity installer looks like. You just have to press some buttons and hit some checkboxes and then just tell it where to install, and then you just let it install. Then you would just open Unity and use the open button here to open the project that SteelRaven7 shares with us. You would just have to navigate to some location and just say select folder, and then you would be able to work on it. So if you were to create a map from scratch in Unity, you would go to Game Object, 3D Object, Terrain. That's a basis of it, that's a basic thing, the basic block you need. And it's just a white plane, which you can look at in the scene editor. You can use the mouse, left mouse button, middle mouse button to move around. And then the first thing to do is to play around with the terrain paint functions. You just use some of the brushes, just use Ctrl Z or Command Z on Mac to undo your changes, and play around with the parameters, like opacity, for example, to change how strong the brush works. And then just paint some mountains. This could get boring rather quickly because it's rather boring looking. So what you should do is import two texture files. You just drag and drop the image files in here. I have links in the description to textures that I recommend for this. Try it out. And then to add these textures to the terrain, you have to go to the Paint Texture brush and then add texture, and then you just drag the images right on the left field and just press add. Don't add anything to the other one. And then add another texture. Right, and add the other image. And now you can click on the texture you want and then start painting. And again, you can change the brush opacity to control how strong it is. I recommend that you make mountains gray or brown, while, grass is green, of course. But it's really good when mountains are not green. That just looks like a extremely basic visualization. So as long as you have hills, yeah, grass is great. But if they are supposed to be mountains, they should look a bit different. Now, this is something that SteelRaven7 himself recommended. You go to Assets, Import Package, and then pick Environment, and you just import everything. And this will give you trees and some textures to work with. The trees are the most interesting thing, really. The textures are a bit ugly, but on the other hand, you don't have to go hunting for them and figure out, licensing and rights things. You can just use them. It will make your first steps so much more enjoyable. And then you have to browse in the assets folder and go to environment, where you will find speed tree. And just pick one of the folders and you can drag and drop the speed tree right in there. Yeah, and then you can just scale it and move it around. But there's actually another way to do this. You can just paint trees, even though I don't think it's a good idea. The brush doesn't allow for small amounts of trees, and trees, I think, are quite performance impacting. So to paint trees, go to the Paint Trees tab, add a tree. There'll be a window, and there you have to select using the right-hand side. You will have to select one of the tree objects you added so far, or that are present in your assets. I'm not quite sure which one of the two. And you just pick it and add, and now you can start painting trees. But again, this is a huge amount of trees, so this will just screw up the performance. I'm rather sure about that. Now, what is really cool about the texture painter, the terrain painter, you can simply switch out textures. You just drag them on there and boom, everything changes. You don't have to do anything. You can also add this normal map, and that's it. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to repaint once you painted if you want to change the look later. And that's pretty damn good. It feels really good to use some placeholders. This helicopter, for example, I made in Blender. It took maybe 10-15 minutes because I'm not experienced. Maybe it took a bit more. And then I just added a sphere in Game Object and just made them yellow with a new material that I made yellow. And that is basically it. So you can place them around and, spice up your scene so that you are ready to replace these things with the whichever objects Steel Raven 7 will provide to us. So we can drop them in the map, and then they will be spawn points, vehicle spawn points, flagpoles, all that Ravenfield stuff, right? So anyways, this is it for this little showcase of what the community has been working on, what you can work on yourself if you want to, or what kind of maps you will be able to play once this feature is implemented. Look forward to this feature. It should be in July. Let's see how smart it actually can happen. So anyways, if you're subscribed to this channel, you will be more likely to catch the news as they come in. But other than that, I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, ciao! Have fun making maps. And if you're not into that or don't have the time, have fun checking out new maps once they're finally ready. It's gonna be awesome.